What's up, folks? Welcome aboard. Welcome to another live stream of Avio Man, and welcome to the actual first episode or lesson of Avio Flight Academy. So today we're here in Flagler County Executive Airport, Kilo Foxtrot India November. That's gonna be our base for all our flights, guys. So we're gonna be doing flights in and out Cape Fin. And we got a new livery here that our friend Connor Morris made. So I want to give you a little tour of the livery too. But yeah, Charlie Checklist, welcome aboard. ADS Burger, welcome aboard, sir. And let me see. All right, so we got everyone in here. Let me see the scenery that you're saying now. Aerosoft has a scenery here. I never knew the light went off. Oh, the Daytona Beach one. Okay, they do have the airport too. I didn't know that they had the actual airport. K-Fin. Okay. When was the last time updated though? There's a bunch of things actually. I'm pretty sure K-Fin, the airport over here is out of date. Like one of the runways, it's not there anymore. Actually, one of the runways is now a taxiway, and they built a new runway parallel to it. But oh wow, the flight doesn't want to stay up today. Here we go. Hopefully now it's trying to aim down to it towards. All right, how's everyone doing today? How you guys doing? Welcome aboard. Welcome to another live stream. Let's get this thing rolling very quickly. We got yeah, the light keep pointing down, which is a shame. I don't want it. And give me a second. Let me set this. Here we go. That thing should pop up. Here we go. Now we should be fine. So I'm running the weather from a couple, actually last month, because it's been rainy all these days, and has been awful. The light keeps falling down, which I think the spring of the light decided to give up on me. Is there a way I can stop that shit to happen again? There we go. Nice thing of a live stream here. Be prepared for everything. All right. But yeah, let's see. So we went on an old data weather from Active Sky just because the weather's crappy. Actually, let's see now. It's windy as hell. But we can try. Looks like it's a little bit better now. So weather control, switch to live weather. Hopefully it's gonna be okay. Well, low clouds. Now we're gonna switch back to our weather. Historical. Oh, last month, September, we can do the 16th. Yeah. That should help. Alright. Let's get everything going here. Here we go. That's our new, without even noticing. But that's the new livery we got for our new projects that's going on. So it's gonna start with a lesson every week. So today is lesson number 1, and this livery is made by our friend Connor Morse. Which Connor Morse, if you hear me, you can now also publish this livery in our store. Beautiful Cessna 172 livery. This is for the default. Okay, one modification I did, not to the livery but to the airplane itself, is the fannings. I removed the fannings because most of like flight training aircrafts don't have fannings. It's just excess weight we don't want to carry. It helps. Yes, it helps the aerodynamics a little bit, but I mean, it's at the end for aviation, like for flight training, it's not as useful. But it's a beautiful livery. Exactly the way I wanted it. He read my mind and he did it, and that's awesome. But sup, Alberto, welcome aboard. Welcome, thank you for joining us. Welcome to our first lesson today, and we're gonna jump very soon in our brief room and talk about this plane a little bit, because first thing first, it's this is going to be the first lesson, so we're going to take you up in a plane, and a lot of flight academies actually they do that. They take you up in a plane, and then they do a lot of ground schools, so you know, just to get familiarized before you start the theory and everything. So we're gonna alternate these lessons with theory and flying, theory and fly. I'm gonna do a little brief before, and then we try to take the theory out to practice. So we're gonna the wrap pack. We're using the real expansion pack for this plane. So it's the if you guys are new to X-Plane World, this is a default Cessna 172, and Simcoders, which is the add-on maker, came up with this pack, reality expansion pack, which gives changes the a little bit aerodynamics, the dynamics of the plane, making it more realistic. Changes the checklist. As you can see now, we got tie downs and all that cute stuff that you can. So my choice was between this one and the Airfoil Labs, the Cessna 172, but I went with this default 172 with this wrap pack. It was much cheaper and looks like gave me better options. But yeah, I'm gonna give you a little tour of our airport here too. This is where I live basically. I need to change the weather once again because that doesn't sound right. This is an airport I've been developing. Me and a friend of mine. My friend decided he couldn't finish it, so got more other stuff. Like he got other stuff coming up, so he basically, I'm the only one now trying to develop this little the airport. It's a very nice airport. There's a flight academy right here at this Daytona. It's called Daytona Aviation. There's a hangar. It's pretty realistic. And then we got the hangars over here for our private owners. The one building is missing, which I'm working on. And if you're on my Discord, you probably seen it. It's this building right here. It's a restaurant called Hijackers. But everything else is modeled. It's gonna be probably available hopefully very soon on the org. We'll see if we want to make it freeware or payware. Here we go. And there's all the buildings are custom. Managed to do the 3D modeling and everything here. The textures are not made by me because I was unable to make textures, but they're all very well done. The Chamber of Commerce, the signs here. There's a development going on here, so now we're waiting for an update maybe to see. I think Planet Fitness and a couple other buildings are coming up. Hijackers, by the way, if you are over here or nearby here, guys, check out the restaurant. Is actually really good. The car rental area. Enterprise. Here we go. All right. Where's everyone? That's like, oh Rico, yeah, where Avio? I want to do the lessons, and then the one missing today. I guess. CJ was one of them. Where is he? CJ, hopefully you can see this in replay whenever I'm done here. Couple buildings here. Here we go, some hangars. And then we got the Air National Guard over here on this side, which we did not 100% completely do it, of course, because we didn't have much access to that area, so it's very hard to get pictures. But this is updated version, so we got what was it called? We got everything updated as it should be. Basically, the runway, the old runway was here. Probably can still see it when they removed the runway here. So this is where the old runway was, okay? And the new runway is here. And they got it a little bit longer too. As you can see, the runway used to end like around like here. Now they got a little bit longer, and there's more clearance over there. And they did a major overhaul to this airport. But Let's we're not here for the scenery. I mean, we are, but not only for that. Let's come back over here and let's actually go to our brief room quickly. Brief room, where are you? Let me pull this one up here. Briefer. Oh. All right. So first thing first, we wanna move this one over here quickly. Yeah. So we have the Cessna 172 POH. POH is the Pilot Operation Handbook. This is your Bible. That's the Bible for your plane. Inside every single aircraft, you should have the specific POH for that plane. So, for example, for November, Alpha Victor India Oscar, me in the back seat. Usually there should be another POH like this. It's a book, which I do have my own book here. It's the Cessna 172. This is the general information, so it's not specific to a specific model or a specific aircraft, but it's pretty much the same. The difference is between this one and the one you find on your plane is the fact that the one on your plane has the specific weights. Every plane has something different, a tiny bit different, but this is more or less your Bible. So there's a little information, so we know it's a model 172S nav 3 avionics, so it has the G1000 and everything in it. Specification and performance coming up on the first page. Let me actually get it a little bit. Can we do this? Fake to page. Here we go. We got the performance here, and so this is our speeds we can reach. 75%. Of course, these are no winds conditions. Whenever you see this winds, it's gonna change. The whole number is gonna be changing. But this is what hypothetically, theoretically, we can achieve. 124 knots. And it says also what kind of how you perform all the stuff. Before we continue, let me actually check out on my Discord, because I know there was a lot of confusion before. I know there was a lot of confusion before, so let me try this again quickly. General. Wait, the Alright, give me a second here quickly. I have to wanna see my Discord channel, what's the same. Alright, so we got that one in. Sorry about that, folks. Let me see who's in the chat. Alberto. So Alberto, you're still here? Welcome. ADSB, I think you're still preparing. I don't know if I'm gonna do trying to see if I'm gonna do a local flight, or we need to check the weather now in a second and see where we want to go. So this is our informations, major information. So this is 53 usable fuel, all right, and this is the range between the two power setting we're going to use. So if you use 75% at 85,000 feet, 8,500 feet, the range is 518 nautical miles, 53 gallons of usable fuel. These tanks carry 56 gallons of fuel, so the total, but it's only the usable is only 53. All right, the radar kite 737 is feeling we're never gonna get never gonna pass 10,000. And with the Cessna 172 we never passed. Maybe one time we went to 10,000, but and the takeoff roll, ground roll, these are all standard conditions. There's charts in here, you can guys check it out later. All right, you know guys, I'm gonna connect into VATSIM and just do a quick awesome. I'm gonna connect to VATSIM just to see if anyone connects, even though we don't need to connect. This is gonna be more or less a lesson. So stall speeds are here. That's very important. You could have to differentiate these speeds. These are KCAS, not, we're not talking about TAS, we're not talking about indicator airspeed, not talking about ground speed, but KCAS. This is calibrated airspeeds, which is different. This is a specific condition that have been applied to get these speeds. The real speeds will be in this POH book that we're talking about here. You're gonna find all these informations in the POH. The weights. This is the weight when you do a weight and balance before you start your flight. I don't have a weight and balance sheet right with me. Andrea De Virgilio, buonasera, welcome aboard. When you do the weight and balance before you start your flight, you want to make sure that you are inside these parameters. These are very important parameters. You check your weight, the weight of your passenger, your luggage or whatever. If you have your flight bag, you always want to add something, and want to add them up and see if you are in between these values. So before takeoff, as long as you have that you're below these values, you're good to go. CG is also a very important thing, though. Okay. Max your useful load when 120 pounds of baggage allowance, that goes in the back. 56, as I said, 56 gallons of fuel. All right. As I said, 53 is going to be the actual number because we lose some parts that it's unusable. It's because the fuel basically the one that detects how much fuel you have and the fuel that you can, how you say, not all the fuel stays in there. So let me explain you a little bit better. So if you see the tank, okay, the nozzle is right here. The nozzle is right here, maybe on the tank, and this part is not used because unless the plane is tilted or whatever, it's not usable. So that's why we call unusable unusable fuel. It's all the fuel that cannot be used during our flight. Okay, but it's there. It's not there. Okay, and then the wing loading. This load factor, pounds per square feet, pounds for horsepower. Fuel capacity, 50 cl old capacities, 8 quarts. For flight training, we want to make sure we had at least 6 quarts for per engine. And here we got the engines that we are running on the Cessna 172. I have some notes here that I would like to pull up, which I want to make sure that I'm saying the right things every time. But this is the type of engine, IO 360 L2A. So let's go through this quickly and see why we call it this way. It's just not a random name, it's specific. It gives you some information about the engine. I wrote it down before. I just want to make sure that we're doing the right thing here. If you give me a second. Okay. So let me see. I prefer my notes actually. My notes are much better than so let me see if we got some. I wrote it down, damn it. You can see this note has been used quite a bit actually. I always try to write it down because it's the reason why this is how I learn most of the time, like writing it down multiple times. All right, so Charlie Checklist, welcome aboard, and JWC Lano, welcome aboard. IO, okay, so IO stands for this fuel is horizontally opposed, okay, and 360 is the cubic feet, basically cubic inches of the engine. That's how much it is, 360 cubic feet. L2A is, we wrote it down, there we go. I'm gonna check it on my POH is better than anything else here. Let me see. That's fuel limitation. Here we go. Oh, here we go. So it's page, I think section 2, but you can look at from here. That's fine. So it's the let me read it here. So it's a texture light calming. That's texture light calming, 180 bhp. So we're talking about horsepower, and the engine runs at 2700 rpm. So the inches, that's the basically the diameter of the prop. If you look at the prop from the front, that's the diameter is 76 inch. But yeah, that's some kind of informations quickly we get here. So you can see the POH, the section 1. We're still in section 1, general information. And you need to learn how to read this manual. It's very important, because if something happens, that's where you're gonna look. You're gonna check on the POH. 76, 36, okay, on the land. We got all these informations that are very important to read actually and know. Here we go. That's what I was looking for. So normally aspirated, direct drive, air cooled, horizontally opposed here, fuel injector, 4 cylinders engine with 360 cubic inches displacement. That's what we're talking about. The horsepower rating and engine speed is 180 rated bhp, and at 2700 rpm. I know the propeller is made by Hartsoe, I believe. Macaulay, yeah, Macaulay. And this is the name, but it's not very important, this one, and that's not something you're gonna say. I mean, it's good to know, but it's not something you wanna. The most important part is this, okay? This one and this one. You should know this very, very well. Let me see if I can. These are very important information you need to know, guys, because it's gonna come up at every single check ride. They're gonna ask you about your engines. What's IO 360 L2A means? Because it's gonna be like yeah, the engines. The Cessna 172 has an IO 360 L2A engine. What does it mean? It's normally aspirated, direct drive, air cooled, horizontally opposed, fuel injected, 4 cylinders engines with 360 cubic inches in displacements, basically. And and they're gonna ask you what's the engine rating. Is 180 horsepower bhp, and it's 2700 rpm, running at 2700 rpm. And what about the prop? It's made by Macaulay propeller system, has 2 blades, and they run at 7, and the diameter is 76 inches. Fuel, other very important thing. This is what we mostly use. This one, the 100 LL grade aviation fuel. It's blue in color. Make sure that's when we do the fuel sum. You check, put the fuel sum up on under the wing. You sum the fuel, check if there's any impurity, and you check the color. Make sure it's blue. All right, you do that check. Here we go again. Capacity for 56, 40, and 53. Each tank has a 26.5 usable. That's these are. You need to know this. This is like your Bible. That's very, very important. You really need to know how much fuel you carry. You don't want to be flying around and be like, oops, oopsie doopsie. And let me underline these. And I can send you this manual on our resource. Guys. We can check this manual on our Discord. We're gonna send you this information on our resources. So resources channel on the Discord. So at the end of the lesson, I will put everything we went through on that page. Okay. Oil specification. This is the type of oil we're gonna be using most of the time. Here we go. Mineral oil. Here we go. Oops. Is there a way I can highlight now? Okay. Stick. Mineral oils. Okay. This is the side. This is what you usually mostly use. This is always what I used. You also want to check every time. You want to check when you get into the plane and you do the pre-flight. You open the engine calling area. There's a little lock. There's a little thing there. You open it and you check take the stick out, and you see how much fuel, how much oil you have. The minimum requirement for flight by the FAA is 5 quarts, but for that plane, specific for that plane. But for flight academies, usually they keep it at 6. It's just an extra bumper, extra safety. And this shows you how also when you need to change the oil. Always read every time you get into the plane. You might know this plane very well. Let's say you just joined the flight academy, but the most important thing is you go through the maintenance book. That's I keep saying that, guys. I keep seeing people just jumping inside the plane without checking it. You need to check POH. If you have a POH on board, you need to make sure you have a checklist on board. You do your pre-flight and check the maintenance book. The maintenance books, it's almost like another Bible, basically. If something happens on your plane and you didn't read your maintenance book, you have no clue. Maybe you're in America, you have no clue what's going on. But if you read your maintenance and you know there was been troubles on the uh, spark plugs, or there's been a trouble with the cylinder, or there's been a problem with the I don't know, with something, with the flaps, you already know what to do, because oh, must be this the problem, because we already had a problem there. Um, and here we most of us will probably stay above in these two areas here. I don't think, unless you live in Wisconsin, probably gonna be, you should be considering these these two. But um, there we go. Weights, we are 2558 normal. We always looking at normal category, guys. Not I don't think Flight Academy has any planes in utility category, so they're always like normal categories, and these are the weights that you need to know in memory, guys. 2550 and 2558. That's a very important thing. 120 pounds on the baggage area 1, and the baggage area 2, 50 pounds. It will show on the picture now what are the baggage areas. So but usually if you're doing flight training, you don't put 120 pounds in your baggage area, unless you have one of your schoolmates that you really don't like and you put them in the baggage area. Yeah, you're gonna fly in the baggage compartment today. Standard empty weight. These are the standard empty weights. All right, so every plane has its own empty weight. Basic empty weight, it's all published. Usually they are all in the specific POH of the plane, or you can find them at some flight school. They put them near the pilot resource crew room, where you can go and check for November 172 Romeo Alpha. It shows all the weights that are important. Take that note down, and then you do the weight and balance. We're not going to go through the weight and balance to this lesson. It's something we're going to go through more specifically in the second lesson. Wing loading, these are the loadings that you can put on, and here we go. That's what I was saying. Remember, KCAS, calibrated airspeed, is the indicated airspeed corrected for position and instrument error and expressed in knots. Knots calibrated airspeed is equal to KTAS in standard atmosphere at sea level. So that's what I said. It's going to be in standard atmosphere. The true airspeed, KTAS, is the speed that it's like a relative to undisturbed air, which the KCAS corrected for altitude and temperature. Basically, it's they're very similar. They're basically the same in conditions, like a standard atmosphere at sea level. So we're talking about ISA, International Standard Atmosphere. 2992, the temperatures, and we're gonna go through all these when we're gonna start doing the weather. Weather's gonna be up ahead in the lessons plans. Knots indicated airspeed is the speed of the airspeed indicator, and it spreads its node. So these are all information. Here we go. That's something I was looking for. These are very important airspeeds. Okay, you need to know this very well. The VAs, your maneuvering speed, is maximum speed at which full or abrupt controls movement may be used without overstressing the plane. You can't just be like, you're doing 120 knots, pull up the controls and just make a steep turns. No, you cannot. You're gonna overstress the plane. You're gonna lose a wing. You're gonna induce a stall, because remember, that's something we're gonna read now in a second. And this is the flap extended speed. Okay, it's the highest speed permissible with the wing flat as described in extended position. So wings, flaps extended. Maximum structure cruising speed. We don't want to get it. We don't want to go over this speed when we are in turbulent air. And VNE. This is a very important speed. Let me get it right. My pink and not red. These are very important. They're all very important speeds, but this, you never want to go above this speed. Never. All right, stalling speed is minimum steady flights. Okay, that's a stalling speed, and then we have two different stalling speed. The VSO is on landing configuration, so the speed with flaps extended. Okay. VX, VY, these are the two climbs we're gonna learn when we're gonna be flying. Is gonna be VX is the best angle of climb, and the VY is the best rate of climb. What's the difference? It's between the horizontal and the vertical situation. So if we one is great on time and the other one is great on distance. So shorter time or shorter distance, that's what we usually talk about. Oh, I need something to drink. So the best angle of climb is the speed which results in the greatest gain of altitude in a given horizontal distance. So let's say this is your distance, okay? You take off from here and you want to reach 3,000 feet, and the VX is going to be more like this, okay? And you're going to reach 3,000 feet. The VY is probably going to be like this. Okay, so the thing is, the VX it might be slower for time to reach your destination, your desired altitude. It's gonna take longer time, but it's gonna take less amount of less distance in your horizontal view. So if we're talking about maybe taking off from a very mountainous area or near a city, or you want to take off and there's a class Bravo airspace right next to you, and you want to climb over that class Bravo, or let's say class Charlie, you want to stay above that, okay? So then you're gonna definitely use the VX to get, so you're not gonna get into their airspace or into the mountains. You don't want to get into too close to a mountain. But the VY, it's more like okay, I want to get there, but I want to get there faster. So I want to go. I want to get there. I want to have a cross country flight, but I want to reach my cruise altitude as soon as possible. Then I'll take the VY. It's gonna take a little bit longer on your horizontal plan. So it's gonna take a little bit more miles to reach your altitude, but it's gonna take less time usually. In a given time, as exactly as it says, is the speed which results the greatest gain in altitude in a given time. And yeah, these are very important too, especially in takeoff, when your flight instructor will be like, okay, give me a VX climb out, VY, climb via VY. That's what you need to know. OAT, we know all these kind of pressure, altitude, that's very something important. Is you have to read from an altimeter when an altimeter barometric scale has been set to 2,992. Brake horsepower, bhp by the engine, yeah, and then RPM, we know revolutions per minute. This is very important. Lean and enrich the mixture when you're on ground and when you're up in the air. You always want to have lean your mixture. Not during takeoff, not during landing. You want to have rich mixture in that at that point. But it helps you the fuel consumption and helps you your sparks. The sparks plugs. They stay longer when you have like that. Okay, so when you lean the mixture. These are very important information that you might need to know, but basic empty weight, that's what I was talking about. Useful load, okay. And okay, so there's a little chart to convert and everything, and we should come up very soon now to the section number 3. Let me see if I can. Here we go. Section number 3. Section number 2, actually. It's still section number 2. Yeah. Oh, we got the speeds. Here we go. We got the very important speeds we need to know. And that's very important. Let me see. Maybe like this. No. Okay. Alright. 163 is your never exceed speed. I'm going to highlight this. Here we go. Alright. Then 129 is the cruising speed with no, turbulent air. These are the VA speeds. Depends on which when you do the weight and balance. If you are more close to 2550, then you're gonna consider this speed. If you're more close to 220, you're gonna consider this speed. Basically, you don't want to be above the speed and then do an abrupt maneuver, do steep turns, do stalls, all that kind of stuff. You want to be below these speeds, okay? Flaps extension 110, below 110, flaps 1. That's what we say always on flight training. Below 85, we go flaps full, or maybe, I don't know. Here we go. These are very important informations. 163, you're never gonna open your window unless you're hypoxia, not hypoxia, but if you have contaminations. So exhaust gas coming inside the cockpit, that open your window, or even the doors if you can. But otherwise you don't want to open those. That's an important values over here. On the G1000 is differently represented. Actually, there is a standby instrument we can check. These are the arc, red arc. That's you don't want to be on the red arc on final approach. That's clear. 20 to 40 knots. White arc, that's for the full operating system. So basically when you'll be in landing configuration, that's going to be your speed. Okay, 129. And you see these speeds come up if you think about, okay. 129, the VNO, 85 knots for that. And the yellow arc, 129 to 163, it's only in smooth hair. The red line is the VNE. Here we go, 163. 163, these numbers shows up. Airspeed in G1000 airspeed indicator only. The white arc, yeah, the white arc it's the red arc only shows up on the G1000. Okay. Here we go again. Informations, oil informations, and you need to learn power plan. Okay. We're just gonna go through some other informations here that not exactly. This is the kinds of operation equipment list. So a lot of aircraft around the world, like especially the aircraft like airliners, they have the MEL, minimum equipment list. This is different. This is kinds of operation equipment list. It tells you what it gives you a number, see, and then you add them up and see what do you need. One means okay, you know, there's like you need to read and see VFR day, night, VFR day and night, what equipment you can fly with, and what equipment you have to have on board in order to fly. Okay, let me go back here. I think we can proceed now to that's about weight and balance and performance exactly. So one thing we always do technically when we have a shorter runway, we do this a lot, basically calculating the speed, the rate on climb and the distance to climb, and also the runway distance. So that should come up here in a second. Here the weight and balance issue, section 5 basically it's all about that weight and balance equipment list / equipment list. And here we go, the weight and balance sample loading problem. Here you put all your weights and the momentum is here. Here you got the momentum. You know, that's the momentum, basically the distance. You know, you calculate the momentum by doing the arm. It's a very simple physics calculation. We're gonna go through that very soon in the next episodes. And here we go, the arms. These are the arms, CG arms from each position, and then you do calculate the momentum by your weight and the arm. Okay, this is where you want to be when you inside this envelope in normal category most of the time. This is the POH, guys. This is a very important. Here you go, aileron, rudder, and all the systems are here. We're gonna read that in a second, and then see there's a whole bunch of things about the G1000 instrument panel here. It gives you all the information you need to know. Let me see if I can scroll down a bit faster here and go to the one I want. The electrical system. It's something important. The vacuum system, all the systems are basically here in the section 7. Very important. And then here we go, we got maintenance on section 8, I believe, section 9. Normal procedures. If you don't have a checklist, you can have a basic checklist on here. It helps you a lot too. Alright, so we're done with our pre-flight briefing. Quickly, we're gonna jump back in. Sorry if it's been a little bit longer than expected, but I wanted to give out that information. That's very important. Alright guys, if you haven't done it so far yet, let's hit the like and subscribe buttons and join us on Discord. The weather is still looking crap, so what I'm gonna do actually, let me set up another time. Let's see if we can set up that time with the weather. Bless you, Kelvin. It's my cat. Let me see if the weather, because definitely can't do much maneuvers in here, but maybe with this, it's very cloudy. It's actually rainy. The weather out there now is not bad, so let me maybe bring it back to today's weather. It's not updating the correct weather out here because it's definitely not like this. It's nice and shiny out here, but that's fine. We're gonna find a way now. Let me connect on my thing here. Okay, let me connect on VATSIM. Cessna 172. Skyhawk. Yeah, let's do the Skyhawk. Okay. Yes, where God bless you. Alright, look at this. We got everything in. What I'm gonna do though is update the weather and get a better weather. Heard a guy say that once. Say what? Oh, God bless you. Alright, so let me see if I can pull up some weather a couple days ago, maybe enforce it. Yeah. It's still giving me these clouds. I have no idea why. Maybe October 1st. Does it even change? It doesn't look like it's changing. Let's go back in August. That's weird. It changes his back. Let me see. Okay, so let me see. August 17th, the day of my birthday. Yeah, after a person sneezed, he said, God bless you. Okay. Doesn't look to me that he's changing the weather the way I want. So let's make a custom weather then. That's the only option we got. Switch to custom weather. Okay. Alright, so you guys know how to do custom weather. Right click to add an area. From the map screen. Okay, map. Track, lock to aircraft. There we go. Let's do this. Show, okay. Clear sky, fair weather. Let's do fair weather. Hundred nautical miles. Okay. Alright, that should be good enough. That sounds a little bit better. Here we go. JWC Lano, Alessandro Chiappa, ciao Avio man, welcome aboard. Yeah, nice livery. I know, right? That's Connor Moore's job here. All right, so let's jump inside the cockpit quickly and do a little thing here. So we have the real expansion pack. So what we're gonna do is the first of all we're gonna come up here, and we have our lovely checklist. Okay, this is from my previous academy. So pre-flight inspection, you do maintenance status check. So we're gonna go and check the maintenance book. We don't have any maintenance book, of course, on the sim, but we can do actually we do have a maintenance book. Here we go. Maintenance report. Check everything is correct. Here we go. The oil I was talking about, and the numbers are coming up. 50, yeah, to 8 quarts. Okay, everything looks fine. Okay, we don't need that. We can recharge the battery just in case. Okay. Tires of status are okay. Fuel indicator, GPS, everything is good. That's fine. So we did the maintenance, hobs and tech time. So when you jump inside the cockpit, you want to take these numbers. That's one number over here, and to get the other numbers, you have to do this. Here we go. We got some other numbers here. Here we go. Hobs and tech. These are the numbers. Okay. You're gonna take down those numbers, and we go, and then can turn it off so we don't use the battery, and you write it down on your list. All right, so once you've done that, G1000 copy reference, you want to show AROW. So basically aircraft handbook. Then you have the registration. Your registration is a little piece of paper that's usually is attached. Most of the aircraft have it here. And the operation manual book, which is the POH. Usually people put it in their back pocket here, but it's not here. And the weight and balance, it's the weight and balance sheet you got. Fuel and oil quantities, you're gonna go outside and do a manual check. Okay, so let's jump outside, for example, and do a quick check. You're basically gonna, some people do it early, or some people do it during the check walk around. That's where you're gonna look for the fuel. Okay, and you visually check. You tilted the thing up and check a little bit what you get when you approach the plane immediately. And the oil is always here on this side, I believe. Here we go. This is the thing where you check oil. You depress the little circle here, it pops up, and there's a stick. You look out and check how many quarts of fuel you got. Let's jump back inside the parking brakes. Make sure it is set, and it's set. To have your parking brakes, you need to push your brakes. Okay, you push your brakes hard, and then pull up that little handle like this towards you and twist it downwards, and that sets the parking brakes. Fire extinguisher usually is in between, but I don't think it's modeled in here. But there's the fire extinguisher in here, and you check if it's in the green. Fuse selector, you're gonna check our fuse selector valve. It's set on both. Okay. And also the fuse shut-off valve. It has to make sure that it's pushed in. See, pushed in, has to be pushed in. Alternate static check. So the alternate statics are usually down here. Depends on here we go. You make sure it's pushed in. What else do we have to do? Continue with our checklist. I will try to upload this checklist on our resources page. So I will scan the pages and upload page by page as a PDF file. Okay, so alternate. Okay, stay control lock, remove. There's no control lock here. It's the lock that keeps the flight controls in one place in case of wind gusts. Panel lights off. Everything has to be off. We leave the beacon lights on. That's the courtesy we do on a plane. Like some airline leaves the gens on, so that you know when it switches from APU to gen, it automatically switches. The beacon lights always stays on, just because we know that when the engine's running, you don't forget, so you have it there. Ignition check is off, and is off. Avionics master switch is off. Battery master switch is off. On, we're gonna actually turn the battery master switch. Yeah, I didn't know. I know that. All right, and then we're gonna extend the flaps. These are single slotted flap. All right, that's the type of flap. Okay, we do flaps down, exterior light, and we're gonna do a walk around with that. Quick walk around with the lights. Check, toggle lights. There you go, and we check the lights. It's not easy to see during daylight, but the lights are on. The red beacon light. This is not easy to see at night, but during the daytime. But it's not an important equipment for during daytime. All right. Then we're gonna check nav lights. The green lights is always on your right side. The strobe lights is there. They're usually a little plate here that covers the pilot, so you don't get blinded by these strobe lights during nighttime. We have to be quick because we're draining the battery like this. And then the landing gear, landing lights on, and taxi lights are on. You also want to check the pitot. You remove the pitot tube heater, pitot cover tube, and you want to touch it quickly because it gets hot very quickly. So you want to touch it and see if it's working or not, the pitot tube. All right, and then we got the red navigation lights on this side and the strobe on this side. All right, so we come back here, toggle lights off, and we can leave everything else. You can hear the avionics turning off, everything, the gyroscope and all the equipment, the fans. So finish in there. Now let's continue. Primary flight display, check it came on. Low fuel announced here. We're gonna do that check quickly. There we go. Low fuel, no. Low volts, yes. Low vacuum, oil pressure, these are coming on. That's good. Avionic master about switch 1. Unfortunately, this is not something we can separate, but we turn it one off and the other one on, but we are unable to do that. All right, and you confirm you want to hear the fan is pulling up. All right, and the fan is pulling up, you hear that, and it's not something that is modeled on here. And you want to do that for both things. Okay, now we're going to talk about fuel. Check about fuel. So this is different than the normal plane. Here's the fuel quantity right here. We're gonna check the visual fuel totalizer. If you just refuel the plane, you want to go, there's a menu here. You can press for fuel, and it will actually you can override the amount of fuel. So you want to put full fuel if you just did it, you know. Fuel left value. Okay, we're gonna check everything. Resetting. Okay, we don't need to reset the totalizer. Battery master switch can go off, so we don't drain anything. Now we're gonna go and do the exterior walk around. So the pre-flight check, pilot separation handbook. We did the parking brake, set avionics power switch off, ignition off, master switch. That's for the thing, we already done that part. Okay, so we want to check if fuel. We did all this part before. The beauty of the reality expansion pack. It brings you to the place where you have to look. Fuel on valve, yeah, fuel selector, static air pressure alternate here. Trim controls, this has to be on neutral, so I'm gonna put it back on takeoff position right on there. Now first thing we're gonna do, check the baggage door, make sure we open that baggage door. We're gonna get the fuel sump out. Okay, remember and you usually have the keys for this. After you've done that, you need to also close it, make sure the pin is pushed in, so you don't want during your flight the baggage door to keep bouncing and opening up. That's very important. So you get the fuel sumps in. And one thing we do is the fuel sump. We're going to show you how to do fuel sump in a second. So we're going to check, while we move from there to there, we want to check the integrity of the fuselage. If there's anything wrong, is there any damage, bird strikes, or dents, rivets that are missing or anything. You want to check also the elevator. See, push it up and down like this. Okay, as you guys can see here on this side, there is a counterweight. You want to make sure that the counterweights are there, okay? And the static wicks too. The static wicks are these things over here. Static wicks make sure that the static electricity are released to the air through these vents, so it doesn't damage any electrical parts. A lot of people say, oh, it's for the thunderstorm. No, it's not for the freaking thunderstorm. If you get hit by a thunderstorm, first, you're an idiot because you shouldn't be flying into a thunderstorm with a Cessna 172 especially. And second is just, I mean, if you get hit, I mean, yeah, it's a Faraday cage, but it's still going to be really bad. It's going to be a bad day, trust me. Gonna check the rudder. That's beautiful rudder here. Same thing happens. You want to check that there's a little in the middle here. There's some little parts that you want to check. Okay, like a little knot that you want to check if it's moving or not. And the antennas here, the view, right? And then we're gonna remove the tie down. This is the ELT antenna. Make sure that it's there. Timo Gazing, what's up, brother? Welcome aboard. Welcome, welcome. Alberto, yes. Yeah, it's funny, right? That's the flaps check. We're gonna check if it moves, and if he moves, it jingles a little bit, but you want to make sure that it doesn't come down or it doesn't go up. Like, you don't need to break it, but you want to make sure that he's in a stable position. Doesn't we extend the flap, because you don't want to have your flaps moving around on approach. You don't want to have your flaps retracting by suddenly, you know. To the point, I like it. Here we go. Check the ailerons. We're gonna do a double check the ailerons. Be careful. Make sure no one is underneath there. I've seen people having their fingers almost cut off, especially here in between. When there's two people doing the walk around, you want to make sure that no one is touching anywhere here. It's sharp as hell. You push that thing down, you cut off someone's finger. I mean, it's guaranteed. Same thing over here. There's a counterweights that you want to check. You want to check over here. When you push it up, you will see 3 counterweights, and you want to make sure that they're there. Tie down, remove. Fuel sumps, by the way, are right here. There's 2 on this side. There's 2 up front here. Now, it's very hard to me because it's not easy to indicate the right area. Let's go back to, because I think my mouse click spot is different. Here's where the counterweights are. Let me bring it up here. That's where they usually are. Okay. Next, come up here, and that's the fuel sumps. You do the fuel sumps here. That's where you check for your fuel and make sure that you got no impurity inside. You get the fuel sump. It's a container that has a nozzle. You push that nozzle back into the hole. It's a tiny hole, but hopefully you guys are very good at getting an aim. Let's stop it right there, and fuel will flow down, and you will see and check, engage the light and see if there's any impurity, and if the color of the fuel is blue. If it's another color, that means you might have the wrong fuel in it. I should be shaking experience. Yeah, let's smash the like buttons, guys. I hope you guys like this type of stream. So this is where we're gonna put the fuel in, basically, and we check the fuel. Whenever we do a fuel check, we open that thing up, and then we check the fuel visually. If it's fuel tank, you'll see it, and then you will drop the. You also will drop. Someone's using the vacuum. Great. You will also drop the fuel into that place. Okay, when you do the fuel sump, you don't want to just toss it on the ground. You put it back in. It's usable fuel. And sometimes when it's not very clear, maybe it's at night, you have a flashlight, but you still can't detect how much fuel you have. You take this thing. You probably have done it at the restaurants, guys. The straw test. You put the straw into your water, hold the top of your straw, and pull it up, and then you see the water will stay there because of differential pressure. That's how we do the fuel check in our planes too. So we put a straw. It's not a straw, of course. It's a measurement. There's a measure straw basically, and inside has a level. It says how much fuel it has. You put that one in. You check the fuel. It will show you where it says, and then you release the hole, and it will drop it back into it. Very important, guys. Very, very important. Make sure that this valve, it's facing that way, so it's facing straight ahead. The knob here has to be facing I've seen people taking off, guys. Like I literally seen people taking off, and saw the flap, the fuel cap coming off. And trust me, and when he took the turn, oh god, he was pouring. He was pouring onto the over the airport. Basically, he was taking a turn, and whoop, all the fuel was just flowing on the side. Of course, they came back, returned, but yeah, basically that's very important. You want to make sure, even though the cap is has a strain, you will see it. Sometimes some strains they will just rip off. Some of the you will there's a strain that there's a little string that is attached to it, but that's not the case. It's not that you want to lose the cap. It's you don't want to lose. You don't want to lose your freaking cap, and then have the fuel flowing off. You know, you'd be flying cross country flight, and then halfway through, it's like holy shit. Why am I right? Why my plane tends to turn left? Is it because your right wing has no fuel? That's it. You're flying tomorrow? Awesome, man. I'm glad that you're flying tomorrow too. JWC Lano says you have to go now. Alright, no problem, brother. You can check the video once it's posted. Water contamination, we want to make sure it's none. Okay, 47 liters. We're gonna recap the fuel. We're gonna re-put fuel in it in a second. Chocks off. And when we do the here, we want to check the tire. We want to check, go behind and check the brake disc. You want to make sure there's no weird grease, no weird color, and everything is intact. The wheel, you want to check the integrity of the wheel. That's very important. Check the treads. Make sure that is, you know, it's not going to explode when you're going to do a landing. You know, all that, the struts. You want to check everything while you do all these pre-flight, especially on here. I'm going to go back here. You want to check the leading edge. So what I do, I take my checklist, okay? And I pass the checklist around, like on this side, like this, over the leading edge. That's a trick. That's a trick I learned. First of all, because there's full of bug in that thing. There's like smash bugs, especially if you live in Florida. All the love bugs, they'll be all there. So you don't want to get your hands dirty. And also, if there's something that is sharp, because there's a dent or something, you don't want to get a cut in your hand. So I take this, and if it stops because it feels something wrong, you go and check and inspect that, and you call maintenance and say, hey, is this okay? By the way, this is a vent. This is a very important vent. It keeps the pressure in. And then there's a static vent, if I can, down below here. The fuel vent, basically. It basically, when we have excess fuel, that's what would be the drain. Okay, there's a fuel vent and there's a drain. So that's the drain, okay? We got that one in. Check the oil, and the oil quantities now is about 6. That's what we want to keep. And we remove the cap and see with the stick. Remove the covers here. Usually there's no covers here in Flight Academy, but you're gonna check in here. You want to check if there's no birds making a bird nest in there. And there's no bees or anything. You just want to make sure everything is clear. There's you can see the engine's rotor, the engine belt. You want to make sure there's no tears and everything is good. And you want to check the same thing in here. You want to check the same thing on these props, so the leading edge especially. What you're gonna do, again, the same thing with the checklist. You're gonna go around, because that thing is sharp as hell. It's more sharp than the leading edge. So you're gonna go through, and there's the chips. There'll be some chips sometimes, and I've been on a plane where there was a chip on the, and usually it's caused because the propeller, when they spin, they collect dust and rocks and stuff, and they get chipped. There was one time I was like, oh, there's a chip, a pretty evident chip in here. So then I called maintenance. The maintenance guy came with a sanding paper, and he started sanding the hell out of that thing, and then it came out smooth. You want to have a very smooth prop, maximum efficiency. Idiotberg, these insiders we're getting from you are definitely not found on other channels. Probably I would have lost a finger in the future. Alright, that's good to know, guys. It says Mech Howley over here, and then check the spinner. Ooh, this is a vent. That's a vent that goes to the cabin. Make sure that this is clear. No obstructions, okay? You want to see this little dot here. This little dot has to be clear. Alright, make sure you got that one. Play Crazy Game. Welcome aboard, sir. All right, then we're gonna check to the front wheel. Okay, I do usually the front wheel immediately just because you need to get down there and you get dirty. I don't want to be. I'll do it first and it's done. Check the struts here. You want to check this enough. This is the Avio strut. Okay, strut. It's called Avio. We're gonna go through over that in the second lesson too. In another lesson, it's basically you want to make sure that it's well lubricated but not too much. You want to check the tire condition, and also there's fuel sums down here. That's the nastiest one, guys. That's the nastiest fuel sum you will ever do, because you're gonna do the fuel sum down there and it's gonna splash all over you. I mean, I've been splashed on my face with 100 LL AV gas, so trust me, it's just normal. You're gonna get dirty on a Cessna 172. Same thing you're gonna do that we did over there. Check the fuel and everything. Remove the toggle. This is what we want to do when we do the pre-flight checklist at the beginning. When we check the lights and we turn on the pitot tube, we're gonna touch it briefly and see if it's hot. If it got warm, that means it's working. Here we go. What is this? This is the stall. This is very important. That's the stall. That's the indicator for your stall. It basically an angle of based on your angle of attack and the wind speed, relative wind, it will activate your stall warning inside the plane. You know. And the landing lights, make sure and you check the struts in here are good. Check the landing lights are good. We're gonna remove this. Gonna check same thing we did check over here. We're gonna check the our counterweights there, flap set. All right, toggle chocks and check the wheel. Same thing we did on the other side, wheel and brakes. Very crazy. Hey, welcome aboard. Charlie checklist. Yeah, thank you for the sub. And here we go. We are over here now. Let me set a flight plan quickly on the Swift channel. So let me see, where are you? Flight plan, VFR, DAV 10, 172. Let's say 110 knots, 110 knots. G. Okay. Departure airport K-Fin. Arrival airport is gonna be K-Fin. South practice area. We'll probably go to the south practice area. We'll see. We'll see where we're gonna go. Okay. Okay. No alternate fuel on board. We're gonna have it for that's full tank. So for estimated time, we don't need to. All that information is useless. Okay, so we go send message. Flight plan is sent. Vespo, welcome aboard, sir. Thank you so much for joining us. Also, okay, we got everything in. We're gonna check everything is good. Manual doors, everything is good. I'm gonna leave my friend Austin Myers here. We're gonna have a view of Austin Myers. Okay, keep the light on. All right, so let's continue with the checklist. We did the outside checklist and tiers and everything. Fuel count, fuel sums are done. Shimmy dumper, that's what it's called, the shimmy dumper. When you do the nose gear, that little thing starts. It's called the shimmy dumper. It basically it helps the wheel not to wobble. Okay, that's what it does. Steering rods, okay, tire condition. This summer I was pulling a Cessna 172 to the grass. I almost started pulling by the left tailing. Instructor should say stop. Didn't know why. By the way, I want to be... Alright, yeah, you started to push it from where? Pulling by the tailing? What's the tailing? Okay, when you want to push your plane, you want to push your planes from here. Right? From here and here. You don't want to use empennage. You don't want to use any other things. Highly avoid using these this one. This is the position where you want your, by the way, your the props. Okay, so we got the flight plan in, so let's continue with our everything else. A hanger. Oh, the trailing edge, like here. Yeah, don't, they're so easy to break. Like this also, the leading, the not the leading edge but the trailing edge, it's super sensitive. Never touch that. It says do not push too. We tied. Oh, also, by the way, when you check the flaps, you want to check this rod here. You want to twist a little bit and make sure it moves a little bit. It has to move a tiny bit here. It tells you if it's you know, if it moves and it's not stiff, that means it's good, but if it's too loose, that means it's bad. Yeah, you can push it from the nose, but be careful when you push it from the nose. Otherwise you push it from the trailing edge. If you're two people in, one on one side, otherwise you push it from the nose, and the one in the cockpit handles the things here, the pedals. Okay, have aircraft acceptance check done, the pre-flight inspection complete, briefing. Passenger brief. Do we have any passengers? No, but well, let's go through it anyway. Seatbelts, that you show them how to do it. Air vents, you're gonna check. You're gonna show how the air vents work. So there's one over here, 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 and you show them how to use them basically. After that, we're gonna do and check the survival flotation gear. So we don't have any flotation gear. We're not gonna go through the ocean, but traffic watch, you're gonna explain them. Okay, if you see a traffic, because sometimes we don't see it, 12 o'clock. If you see traffic 12 o'clock, if you're gonna see it on this side, that means you have traffic at 3 o'clock, traffic 6 o'clock, traffic 9 o'clock. You want to make sure you just don't start saying 12 past 2, because then you don't understand. They said traffic 12 past 2, is that, oh, okay, whatever. You want to be approximately, okay? Crew briefing, airport diagram. Let's pull up the airport diagrams. That's very important. It's gonna be a lengthy procedure, guys. You'll be like, holy shit, I'm still on the ground. Hey, we're learning. Once you start flying by yourself, you're gonna go through. You don't have to go through all this. Like you have to go through all this, but it's gonna be very fast. There we go. So, K-Fin, let's bring the information. The iPad. Unfortunately, there's no avatar integration in here. Only the 6-pack has it. So let's see the airport informations here. Okay, so we are here, and we're probably going to be checking the winds now in a second by setting the 80s frequency, and we're going to check which runway we're going to be taking. We're going to do a run-up check, and hopefully we can do it right here before the runway. We're going to pull a little bit to the side so that we don't blow any of the prop wind wash to any traffic behind us. But probably it's going to be runway 11 or otherwise traffic runway 6. We'll see what we're going to do. Alright, so we had the charts updated and everything. Wind, runway news, and crosswind inputs. So we're going to check that wind information. PIC, I will be your PIC today, and acting PIC will be Austin Myers. A positive change of flight controls. Whenever you need to change flight controls, there's a three-way flight control exchange. It's called I have flight control. No, you say you have flight controls, and then the other guy says I have flight controls, and I reconfirm, say you have flight controls. Same thing happens in the opposite way. If I want to get flight controls, I say I have flight controls, and then the other guy says you have flight controls, and I say I have flight controls. It sounds dumb, but that's very important. And it's cockpit crew resource management. That's very important, guys. And then we're gonna go through the sterile cockpit. We're not gonna talk about we're not going to talk about Caden. We're not going to talk about the football match that happened yesterday. We're not going to talk about anything else. Now it's the time where we take shit taken seriously and we concentrate on the flight. That's it. No time. We might be able to crack a joke or two, but not during takeoff, not during landing. That's very important. You will always be aware of your surroundings. Safe attitude and ADM. So this is the I am safe checklist. I am safe checklist. Basically, you're gonna see illness, medication, I am safer, and there's a little acronym. We're gonna put all these acronyms on our resource page. I'm safe. So basically, I stands for illness, M stands for medication. Then you're gonna do alcohol, if you have any alcohol, if you have fatigue, um, what else? Safe. This is why I never go in order. That's why. Alcohol, medication, safe, fatigue, illness. I think I got them all. I want to say. Let me double check. Let me double check for you folks. Yeah, illness, medication, stress. Okay. Stress and eating. That's something very important. You cannot be stressed when you fly. You cannot be flying when you didn't have lunch or breakfast, because you need to be. You need to have. You need to have a good meal that is not maybe Taco Bell, because you don't want to get your shits while you're flying. And then no medication that can give you this dizziness, illness. If you're sick, if you're sinus infection, don't fly. And fatigue, if you're tired, if you didn't sleep enough, then don't fly. That's very important. You're gonna go through this a lot during your first day of flight training. Okay, guys. Okay, with that, then due back time, if applicable, if dispatch tells you have to be back by an hour or 2 hours, we write it down. Make sure we have that clear, so we're not gonna go too far away and come back late. Departure briefing. We're gonna airspace awareness. So check the airspace awareness quickly. We go in charts. VFR. We are in the Jacksonville sectional chart. Sectional charts are very important piece of papers. Okay, this is what a paper sectional charts looks like. This one is outdated. It's February 2015, because then I moved to the iPad, and then on my on the app which I use. What's the app that I use? It's a very famous app, but this is the charts. I highly recommend you to get a paper chart. You need to learn how to use a paper chart. And also, the best part of a paper chart is this. At the back, you'll have a legend with all the information that you need to know, all the symbols. You need to learn, basically, if you need to pass the check right, just have one of these. Because the airspaces will be a big thing. And you're going to have to know all these symbols. They're going to ask you for the weirdest symbols ever. Sometimes they will not, the DPE, your examiner will not take a chart from your area and will take you, what is this? And then, oh, well, that's a class Echo airspace, or whatever. What is this? And there's an ADs, Air Defense Identification Zone. The electronic version doesn't have that, so make sure we got that one. Is it normal to feel weird when the plane stalls or the angle of attack is too high? Yes. In my opinion, why? Because it's you're not performing it. I feel great when I'm doing it. I feel a bit weird where someone else is doing it. I remember as a flight student, when my flight instructor used to show me how to do a stall, I'd be freaking out. Not freaking out, but I'd be like, holy shit, man. He's like, no, don't do that. So it's just Fernandina, that's Jackson. I usually should show the map here. Oh, hold on, probably here, maps. Oh, here we go. No, geo. Okay, here we go, VFR. That's the map I want. Here we go. So we have the map. So this is K-Fin, all right. Flag executive, airport. This map is great. It gives you the all information you need to know. ATIS, the tower frequency, the star indicates. We're gonna go through all these symbols later on, guys. Not gonna do it now because it's take a while. Otherwise, we're never gonna be taking off. And we want to stay out of this area. This area starts at 1,200 feet to up to 4,000 feet. So if we stay above, we're good. If we stay below, it's good. If we stay in between, we're fucked. Like we can't. You're gonna be like get a call from Daytona saying, "Hey Daytona, are you ready to copy your phone number?" Say, "Ooh, that's bad. You need permission to get in." Which permission usually it's it's granted when it says that when you establish two-way communication. So so when you call it November Alpha Victor 10, 4,000 feet, 3,500 feet, request transition class of Charlie, and it's like okay, and then the guy says November Alpha Victor 10 radar contact or Roger, then that means you can get in. As long as he says your tail number, you're good to go. That means you establish two-way communication, you're good. But if he tells you stay out of Charlie airspace, that means not going. All right, so we have here information that we're gonna check. We're gonna climb out here, and we're gonna go to the south practice area over Lake Distant probably. And actually, if you read here, it's a caution high volume of flight training services to 4,000 MSL. When I did my flight training, we went to this practice area, Lake Ashby. Lake Ashby traffic, blah 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 blah. Massey Ranch is right there. So this is a whole new area for me. We're gonna go through Lake Distant and perform our maneuvers over here, and come back. All right. So we get airspace awareness. So we make sure you stay off the Class Charlie airspace. Then that is done. What else do we have to do? Obstacles on departure. There's some trees, but there's no effect on us. So wake turbulence avoidance. I'm not gonna get any wake turbulence, but we know what to do in case of wake turbulence. So if an aircraft that is heavier than us, it's taking off, that means we're gonna have to, before us, okay? That means we're gonna have to lift off before his lift off zone. And if he takes off, if we are landing after an aircraft that is heavier than us, we wanna land, we wanna touch down after his touchdown zone. That's very important. You don't want to get caught into a very nasty wake turbulence, especially on the takeoff and on landing. Engine failure or abnormality first. That's very important. You have to go through this in every single time, and I can't emphasize this more. Engine failures during takeoff, okay, or any abnormality. If it happens prior to rotation, what you gonna do? If it's happened prior to rotation, apply the brakes, cut the power. You're gonna stop right there over the runway, maybe vacate the runway. Okay, if it happens after rotation but you still have the runway, enough runway to stop, pull it down, pull it back onto the ground. So land it again and stop on the runway. If there's no runway remaining and you are below the traffic pattern altitude, that's when unfortunately you can't turn back. You cannot turn a single engine. You cannot turn back, and you have no power to do a traffic pound. You can't glide back. So that's what is called the impossible turn. Never apply. Never do the impossible turn. You have no power. Don't try to turn back. That can kill you. That can save you, but that can kill you. All right. So don't try it. Just don't try it. Actually, don't forget that I said you can try. That can save you. It will not save you. Try to land straight ahead. Look in a clear space in the front of you and land the plane there. All right, that's it. If you're above the traffic pattern, then enjoy the little gliding skills of the Cessna 172. This plane loves to glide very well if you keep the right speeds, and then come down and land. That's it. Always make sure that you have an engine problem. Make sure you're looking where you're gonna land. If something goes south, put it down, whatever you can. Best aviation headset. This is best aviation headset that is not too expensive. Faro, the Faro aviation headsets. Let me see, FARO. That's the best aviation headsets. That's the one I used to. Okay. we got that one in. Seatbelt secure. Door close. Close the door. Okay. Fuel selector, make sure it's on both, and it's in. Fuel shut off, in, pushed in. Mixture mixture cut off. Throttle open a quarter inch of throttle. Make sure you take this picture, okay guys? This is the mixture. This is the throttle. Mixture, it basically how much fuel goes into the engine. Throttle is basically the mixture. It's not how much fuel, it's how much mixture of fuel and air gets into the chamber. All right, so you want to make sure this is what you lean the mixture. You want to have more fuel or you want to have more air. So that's when you do that. Play with this a little bit. We're going to go through this detail very detailed way later on. Throttle, it's how much gas you're going to put. The valve, basically there's a valve that decide how much how much you're going to be using of that mixture. So here you go, that's good enough. A 1/4 inch. Good. All right, here we go. All right, guys, make sure this is not gonna be a shithole. This is not gonna be like any other days. This is a very serious stream. So everyone else, behave. Don't instigate. Don't start anything. Okay, just want to make sure that doesn't happen. But welcome aboard, Caden. All right, so standby battery. We're gonna check that and test it for 10 seconds. So got on test mode. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. All right, and then we have the light on. Make sure the light is on. Okay, battery. What is oh, I did that before. I should have done anything else. Avionics master switch is off. Avionics master battery and alternator master switch is off. Beacon lights is on. Circuit breakers, we're gonna check. Everything is pushed in. So go with your hands and try and see. That's what I do. I press it and see if something pops up that is not labeled with ENOP. That means you need to call maintenance. Don't try to push the circuit breaker back in. Prop. Okay, starting engine. So we're gonna check the area. Prop area is clear. And usually this is when you call, open the window, say, in a bit, you're gonna start calling clear prop. Standby battery, we did that 10 seconds. That's when you do it, but okay. And we arm the battery. Standby battery is armed. We're gonna check engine indication, no red X. That means it's bad. Nav 2 is not on because the avionics are not on. Nav 1 comes on the standby battery bus. Okay. Okay, we're gonna check minimum 24 volts on the E bus. 24.5. That's good. And we're gonna check the S. Verify no discharge. Okay. M bus 1.5 volts or less. It's saying 0. That is good. Okay, battery standby, battery SM verified discharge. Yes. Oh, by the way, I was looking the wrong battery. Okay, cool. Let me see. E bus, M bus, we check 24 and then minus less than 1.5 volts. That's good. Standby annunciator on. Okay, usually there's an annunciator coming up. What else we have to do? Okay. Standby annunciator is on as the battery and alternator master switch can come on. Battery and alternator can come on. Okay. M bus volts check 24 minimum. We are 23.2, which is fine. Let's see. Okay, that's up with 23.2. That's fine. It's as long as it's not like 20 or it's fine. Okay. Minimum 24 volts. A hot engine start. No, it's going to be a cold engine start. So we're going to go to the page for the cold engine start, even though it's hot as hell. Throttles advance halfway through. We probably actually can do a hot engine start though. Okay. And then we do fuel pump on, mixture full reach 3-5 seconds and then cut off. So fuel pumps on 1 and then mixture full reach for 3 or 5 seconds. 1001, 1002, 1003, 1004, then cut off. Alright, that is done. Mixture done, fuel pump can come off. Fuel pump is off. Throttle a 1/4 inch. That's a 1/4 inch there. Announce clear prop, starter engage, mixture advanced throttle 1000 RPM. So okay, so let's call it clear prop. All right, and then we basically start the engage. There we go. Love the wobble in there, like Austin Myers' face. And then whenever it starts properly, we give it a full mixture, so that will gives you fuel injection so that you can start the actual engine. All right, so we're gonna quickly check the oil pressure check. We're gonna come up here, EGT, okay, oil PSI is in the green arc already. We're gonna we see this is a 1/4 inch, and we're gonna make sure it's the amperes batteries are coming up. So we have minimum 20. We have 20 volts and minimum 27. See, that's good now. 28, 28, minimum 27. We are above that. Low volts annunciator is off. Mixture, we're gonna lean the mixture. So whenever we lean the mixture, we're gonna go to 1200 a little bit. Okay, that's good. And we're gonna lean the mixture. We're gonna bring up the volume a little bit, maybe, right? Is that good with the volume for you guys? Let me know. Okay. Lean the mixture. So we're gonna bring the mixture back here. What I usually do, there's a twisting knob there. We can't simulate that here, but you twist a little bit the knob and it slowly moves it away, and you lean the mixture that way, okay? You twist the knob a little bit. Okay, we want to see an EGT raise, okay? Okay, that's good enough. That's see, we got an EGT raise, and we're gonna throttle back to 1000 RPM. I want to say about 1000 RPM. And here we go. Imagine if our group 5 were simulated this patiently. That would be taking forever. Alright, so we got that one in. The mixture lean, everything is lean. And before taxi, we're gonna actually start getting our radios here. So let's set COM1 with our ATIS. ATIS over here is 128325. So 128325.
Flagler Executive Information Foxtrot. 1900 Zulu weather. Wind 090 at 12, visibility more than 10. Sky conditions 3700 scattered, temperature 23, dew point 16. Area QNH 1019. Arriving runway 06, departing runway 06. Advise on initial contact, you have Foxtrot.
Okay, so we got information. We're gonna wait the second cycle because sometimes it just changes. It changes right there, so we're gonna wait for the second cycle to pop up, and here for
Flagler Executive Information Foxtrot.
Still Foxtrot, so we're good
1900
to go.
Zulu weather.
Alright, so we're gonna set the tower frequency for here. Tower, actually no, ground 12175, 12175. Even though there's no tower here, we're just gonna set it up. And be like, alright, and this is calling the tower. Let's say, and then say Flagler Tower, good evening, November, Alpha Victor 10 at the parking. We would like to get taxi instruction. We need information Foxtrot. Like to get taxi instruction to the run-up area. Sometimes they will tell you, and then you say, okay, taxi to the run-up area via blah 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 blah. Or sometimes they taxi to the base of tower in some airports, so they want to see you. So you say, right, base of tower. Sometimes they go to the base of tower. That's where they do have run-up areas. In this airport, we don't have an exact run-up area, except maybe for here. So we're gonna do taxi. Okay, request taxi instruction to the runway. Departing for local traffic, something like that, for local traffic. And then he's gonna tell you, okay, now at this point what we're gonna do, actually we'll say, no, we have a run-up area. Okay, we're gonna say, okay, let's do this again. We have a run-up here. Flagger Tower, November Alpha Victor 10 information Foxtrot will like to taxi to the run-up area. They say November Alpha Victor 10 Flagger Tower. Good evening. Taxi to the run-up area via Delta. Cross runway 11. Then Echo to the run-up area. And that's it. And then we're gonna read back. Say Roger will taxi to the run-up area via taxiway Delta. Cross runway 11 on Delta. Echo to the run-up area. November Alpha Victor 10. I was like, cool. So we got that in. Well, before we do that, maybe we want to make sure that we are ready to taxi. So avionic master switch now can go on, and you can put the headsets. That's the sound that you hear. It's the headset that is popping up. Flaps, we're gonna pull the flaps up because we have them down before for the test. Okay, you don't want to do it like that. Unfortunately, it's very hard to simulate it, but you want to go one by one, even when you pull it down, one by. You don't want to go from 0 to all the way to the end, step by step. Alright, we got that one in. 80s flaps up. 80s, we got flight instruments check. We're gonna check the flight instruments, and there's no red X. That's very important. Transponder. Okay, we're gonna check the transponder here. VFR, and we also have it on standby now. Back. Now we got that one in. LRU status. This is when you check the G1000. Okay, you come over here and you do the LRU status. But unfortunately, this system, the G1000 from Laminar Research, doesn't have that lovely thing. Unfortunately, system. Let me see. Okay, oh shit, before we did that, how much fuel we have? Yeah, we're good. Reset fuel, 57.2 remaining. That is wrong. Okay, we're gonna do that another time, but we have enough fuel for this flight, but we'll show you how to do I didn't know that they actually showed it here, but you can check, you can change the amount here. We have about 24 gallons left. I want to join you next time you fly. Alright, man. I mean, I won't bat me if you want to join me, but here we go. We got that one in. Battery's off. Battery's good. Actually, not off. Okay, next raid on. Airways, no. Terrain, no. We're good. Back. Let me see. Declutter. We keep it like this. We're good. So we got everything we needed. We can check the GPS. Unfortunately, we cannot do that. We cannot check the GPS. There's a page, the auxiliary page of the G1000, and you can check how many satellites are watching you. The LRU, which is usually page 5 and or 6 of the G1000. Next lesson is going to be next week. I'm not sure exactly what day. We're going to tell you on Discord when it's going to be, okay? Lesson number 2 is going to be next week. Let's set the QNH. So the QNH is 1019. Why is it 1019? Why is it not telling me the okay. 12175. You can see, okay. Let me see why the radio not coming up. radio gonna go up. Maybe we'll see. That's fine. Anyways, we're good. We got the informations. Okay, 101119. Oh, that's stupid. Let me see. Active sky. What is saying? Home. 3009. Let's see. It's 3009. Set 3009 over here. Basically here. And yeah, we're good to go basically. Avio man, how's your day, man? Pretty good, man. Pretty good. So we got that information's in. Taxi briefing, we're gonna got it. Taxi lights can go on. Nav lights can come on. We don't keep the nav lights on usually. But we'll taxi now. Brake check. I have flight controls. Brake check is good. You have flight controls. And Austin Myers is gonna do his brake check. Alright, good. Let's taxi, give it a little bit more power. Let's check. Left and right are clear. I need to bring the pedals a little bit here. Just because they're a bit too stay clear of that. I'll show you what happens if I turn down, if you turn off, reduce the RPM of your engine. See, you will hear a sound, but you will get a notification low vacuum. So that means there's not enough pressure coming into our gyroscope. And also make sure that there's no one here. Good. Okay, left and right clear. Let's be better on our taxi, okay? Here you go. We wanna, how you know, you wanna make sure your right foot is pressing onto the taxiway. This is how you run. This is how you run. Okay, we're approaching a runway here. He said we are clear to cross. Runway approach are clear. Turn on the landing lights on and the strobe lights on to be more visible. Okay, we're clear the runway. Strobe, landing lights can come off again. But taxiway directions. Basically, you want to be, you want to have your right leg onto the taxiway. Then you know you are in the center. Okay. Now, one thing that we want to teach you today here is this. Now, in real life, we're not gonna do this. You're not gonna stop. Okay. But we're looking for the. Here we go. Can't get it from there. All right. So we want to see where is our the windsock. Okay, that's the windsock there. So the winds are coming from behind. Let me give you, let's go to the brief room quickly and actually pull up the information you need. Okay, there is a page for that, which is the section 4, I believe. Let me see. Yeah, section 4 of your taxi diagram. Okay, so let's go quickly on section 4. Section 4, page 28 something, 29. 28. Okay, here we go. that's some picture you need to learn very well, okay? When you're taxiing. The Cessna is a very light aircraft. A wind gust can just... You like that bubble head? A wind gust can just tilt this plane over like nothing. So whenever you have a wind, okay, so now we know the winds are coming from behind, okay? So they're right behind us, and it's on our rights, on our almost right behind us. It's coming from actually this quadrant here, okay? So what we're gonna do, use down aileron on the right wing and down elevator. So we're gonna be pushing away, like kind of like away, okay? We want that right wing, use the down right aileron and down elevator. Let's come back here and see that, okay? Let's come back over to... So we want to have... Here we go. Down aileron, the right wing aileron, away from it, basically. Away from the wind. And you want to have the elevator down. Why? Is because it will avoid your plane to tilt. You can see it's coming from that directions there, so that's good. Let's go back, continue our taxi today here. We can hear the sound of the... That's beautiful. A little bit more. And that's how you do wind correction during your taxi. We want to keep the same thing. Remember, it's not going to be the same for the whole during the whole taxi. Every time you change, you need to remember when the winds are coming, and you need to change that, and you need to change at that point. So once we cross into now in the next taxiway, it's going to be Delta, okay? So we're going to be basically facing away from it. And at that point, we can have a neutral aileron. Here we go, Delta and Echo. This is Delta coming up. Always check the taxiways. Make sure you're not going against anyone. And we got another windsock here that will help you. Okay, so now it's direct crosswind. So the aileron fully down like that. We're gonna do a run up quickly here. So we're gonna occupy the furthest point down there, okay? And we're gonna facing away from here, from the taxiway. So we're not gonna disturb any traffic. Here we go. That sounds right. That's good. Okay. This is the run-up area. We're gonna do the run-up. A lot of planes do the run-up in the specific run-up area. Planes come down here. I've seen planes coming down here into the run-up. Otherwise, they do it on the taxiway. How you do it on the taxiway? Right before the... That's where you're gonna go. When you come up over here, let's say you want to do a run-up here, okay? You don't want to sit there and do a run-up. You want to come along down here, okay? Come down here, facing that way. This is how your plane should be positioned, okay? Why? If you're gonna put your props all the way up to 2000 RPM to 1800, just imagine the Cessna 172 behind you, or even an ultralight, something like lighter than you, right behind you. All the winds is getting, because you're doing a run up, so you don't want to do that, okay? Alright guys, let's not forget to hit the like and subscribe buttons and join us on Discord. Next flight lesson is going to be next week. So, alright, so we got that one in. We got everything in. Let's see the engine run up checklist. Got the checklist in your hand. Parking brakes. You're going to set the parking brakes. So you pull this thing up. Parking brakes. So you press the brakes and pull the parking lever, okay? Flight controls. We're going to check if free and correct. So we're going to do... little check coming down here. You see that coming down left and right. Oh shoot. Then check. Let me see. left and right, and we want to check the back too. We want to see up and down, left and right. See, unfortunately you can't see the other side. You have to lean a little bit. Here we go, got that one in. All the informations are, we did the flight controls free and correct. PFD, MFD, we're gonna double check. We have no red X's. That's something very bad if we have a red X. We don't want to fly with a red X, okay? Standby instruments check. We're gonna check the standby instruments. Let's see, like that. That's centered. 3009 is set. The altimeter setting is good, showing 50 feet above, like in a difference of 50 feet from the elevation of the airport, so that's good. The other thing is the autopilot. So if we have an autopilot, that's what we're gonna check. So we're gonna check the autopilot, since this plane I think has an autopilot, right? Does it? I don't think, yes it does. Flight director on, autopilot, hear the click. Alright, so when we turn on the autopilots, let's do vertical speed, and it's moving. Want to see that? Let's keep rolling. See, now vertical speed, and it goes on the other way too. Right, so the vertical speed is working. The heading, we're gonna switch the heading and see go the other way. Let's see if the controls too. There we go. Awesome, that is good. Autopilot disconnect, flight director off, and we bring this one back into our position. Okay, takeoff position. Okay, autopilot say electric trim tested both. Make sure the valve is set into fuel selector valve is in both. Make sure it's gonna go full rich at this point, and then we're gonna hit 1800 RPM. 1800 RPM. Always when you work on your magic on the RPM, it's never gonna be 100% perfect, but you want to get more or less something similar. That's fine enough. 1000 RPM. Okay, magnetos check. We're gonna check the magneto. The magnetos are here. We're gonna see then in the next lesson so what is a magneto. But we're gonna check the left magneto. Want to see a drop in RPM between 50 and 150. So not more than 150 RPM drop. Okay, and it's actually pretty good. Back on both. Okay, now stabilize. We're gonna go on the right magneto check. Shoot, that's when you click too long. Okay, that's 100 below 150. Back to both. All right, we got magneto check, indication check. They're all good. Vacuum indication charging. Meters are charging. Yeah, everything is good. Volts good. Plus. That's great. Annunciator non-throttle to idle. That's when we're gonna check the throttle to idle and idle check. Let's see, the aircraft starts shaking because it's gonna try to shut off soon. We don't want to keep it too long into idle. Back to okay. Now 1800, good. Back to 1000 RPM. Like a 12. Actually, let's do 1200, and now lead the mixture. All right, Charlie checklist. Thank you so much, sir. Okay, mixture is lean. Let's lean a little bit more. All right, and keep it at 1000 RPM. That's good enough. Alright, here we go. Okay, FMS GPS flight plan. We have a GPS, so we're gonna set the flight plan too. Flight plan, okay. Menu, delete freaking flight plan, yes. That's it, K-fin to K-fin. Alright, so we have K-fin to K-fin, that's good. That's all we need to do. CDI soft key transponder set departure briefing, and we're gonna set the departure runway heading, which is the runway 06 we set. So 061, we're gonna set that one on the heading bug. Okay. We could have gone the other way before. 061 set on the heading bug, and we are good over here. Everything is set. We can close this one and we can ask parking brake release in a second. Flagger tower, November Alpha Victor 10, run up complete. We would like to taxi to the runway. They say, and they will come back say November Alpha Victor 10, taxi to taxi to runway 06. Taxi to hold shore runway 06. Is that alright? Taxi to hold shore runway 06. November Alpha Victor 10. That is good. We got that one in. Alright, cool. Here we go. Parking brakes are off. Left and right are both clear. Let's keep it about 1,000. Alright, we can switch to tower now. The tower frequency is going to be 11895. 11895, 118. And Flagger Tower, good evening. November Alpha Victor 10 hold short, runway 6 on Echo, ready for departure. What's the reasoning behind this flight academy again? For me, it's for me actually. Basically, give me 1 second. It's basically for me so that since I'm gonna be a flight instructor pretty soon, I'm going back to school for my instructor rating, for my other instructor ratings. It's a way for me to refresh everything on how to teach kids how to fly again. Okay, so we got it's in November Alpha Victor 10, clear for takeoff, line up and takeoff runway 06 on departure, runway heading. Okay, so cool. We're gonna clear for takeoff, runway 10, keep runway heading on departure. Taxi lights on, strobe lights on, taxi lights can come off. Alright, no flaps. I want to double check, make sure it's gonna be full now. Make sure full forward, flaps up. Alright, so we're gonna come back and see the speeds. Our V speeds are V rotation, it's gonna be 55. Okay, if we're doing a short field, it's gonna be 51. We'll take the runway. We're gonna do one short field takeoff later on. Okay, make sure the transponder make sure the transponder is on alt mode. VFR, good. Alright. Okay, we keep that one ready. Okay, we got good. Our V, we're gonna climb with via VX of 62 knots. Okay, there you go. Full power. Slowly apply full power. Make sure. Wind check also. Gonna keep it at. Right, we go. The winds are. Airspeed is alive. 50. Alright. And we're gonna climb at a VX, so let's get 62 knots. I'm gonna climb at an altitude of 3,000 feet. We're climbing at VY right now. Let's do VX. There we go. This is the picture you want to have outside. Okay, let me actually reduce the freaking this volume is too high. There you go. Oh. Keep the picture like this outside. This is the picture you want to see when you're climbing. That's the angle. Remember, when you're flying visual flight rules, okay, it's the 90-10 rule. That means 90% of the time outside, 10% of the time instruments inside. All right, so we passed our 1,000 feet. We can actually start turning towards that's asleep. I'm going to use the rudder a little bit to maintain this turn coordinated. This is the slip and slide indicator right here. And we're going to head towards, that's the VX. We're still climbing as VX, okay? I'm using the trim a little bit, and let's see if we trim the plane a little bit more. Let's see if we can climb at VX. A little bit more trim. There we go, we are climbing at VX. That's what you want to do. Very easy, very easy. Trim your plane. Keep a picture outside. This is how you want to see your plane. That's the horizon, okay? That's the picture you want to have. Keep this horizon line so you guys know what's the VY, VX. Why does the cockpit look so different in that Index X Vision? Your mouse isn't aligned with the same stream. Maybe check Streamlabs again. I don't know how to do that, man. There you go. 3,000 feet. We can start rolling out. Okay, once we're stable, we're gonna remove the trim that we put in and give it 75%. And remove the trim a little bit. pitch for airspeed instead of altitude. Yes, you pitch for your airspeed, and to maintain altitude you go with the throttle. But in a climb, you don't want to cut your throttle because you want to keep that altitude. You want to push down the nose first, gain some airspeed, because remember, you're climbing at 61, 62 knots. That's your VX. If you throttle back, that speed, what happened to the speed is gonna go back too. So what you want to do, you want to push down the nose, stabilize a little bit, then throttle and adjust the throttle. The rule for pitch for altitude and throttle for pitch for airspeed and throttle for altitude, it's valid when you're performing ILS approaches or approaches in general. Remember that. It's not valid for any other things, okay? Okay, we have the plane trimmed, maintaining 3000. We're good over here. And we're gonna pull up the map here quickly and see what's the deal over here. Map. We are going towards Lake Distant. The one Crescent Lake is over there. There we go. Got that one in. "3,000 feet, we can lean the mixture a little bit. See an EGT rising. Look at our RPM are slowly. The higher you get, the RPM will decrease every time, man. We're gonna keep it at 2300. Probably had to retrim again the plane. See, the plane is trying to climb up again. And this is exactly what he says, you know. When you increase your RPM, your plane will start to climb. Look at the choppiness, a little bit of choppiness here around. A bit less than that. Okay, we're gonna go to Lake Distant, which is the lake right there. That's the Lake Distant, okay? And we're gonna perform a couple of maneuvers out there and see what we can do. Okay, one thing I want to show you next time we take off, if you want to check behind every time when you take off, that's when you know if you did a coordinated take, if you apply enough right rudder. Because remember, you need some right rudder on planes like this. Otherwise you'll be off center. When you take off, you'll be like, oh, and then slowly going to the wrong spot. Okay, let's do. We did the. Well, we basically did the checklist about 3000. We lean the mixture, verify that it's altitude mode, landing lights can come off. Since it's a local flight, we're gonna keep the landing lights on. But otherwise, we don't need the landing lights on. Trim a little bit. Looks like okay. So Lake Distant is the one lake coming up there. That's Lake Crescent Lake. Should be good. So you can see, you always need to check your RPM. They tend to slip a little tiny bit every time. That's good enough. Another thing I learned it was when I'm turning, confirm the right, left, the center is clear. Some people do it by turning the plane in those directions slightly. Yes, we call them S turns. We can basically now if we were, I don't know the frequency for this practice area, but there will be a frequency for the practice area. It will be calling like I don't know, Crescent City practice area, white sky, white black Skyhawk, November Alpha Victor 10. How many miles? Let me see. It doesn't even look. We're 5 miles from there, so like 4 miles east of Lake Distant maneuvering, or you do maneuvering, or you say practicing stalls 3,000 feet, or you want to say steep turns at 3,000 feet. You know, you want to say, if you're flying into practice areas, you want to tell them what are you doing. So there's a high concentration, high volume of flight training aircraft in these areas, especially in this area of Florida. It's big. You got Daytona airport over there with 3 flight schools, and see, once you train the plane, the train stays there at 3,000. I mean, stayed at 3,000 the whole freaking time. But yeah, you want to make the calls, and before you do the maneuver, you want to do clearing turns. The reason why you do the clearing turns is so that you can see around, but also you can show yourself. Because whenever you move your wing, okay, like that, you also make reflection. The sun comes and sets on your wings, on the whole wing area, and it reflects. It will be easy to spot to other planes too. If a plane is flying like this, it's not easy to spot, trust me, being here. So a couple things we're gonna do. We're gonna do a couple maneuvers. We're not gonna do any stalls or anything today. We're just gonna be a couple turns. So and learn about the instruments we got here. So we have the altitude, the airspeed indicator here. It's giving us the indicated airspeed and the true airspeed down below here. Okay, then we got our friendly altimeter setting with the vertical speed, also the vertical situation, so we know how many feet per minute we are climbing or descending. The artificial horizon, which is also here, is in the airspeed is here too. All right, and this is 45 degrees bank. This is more than 45. So when you guys know, you know, when you do a steep turn, this is what you're gonna looking at. The slip and slide indicator. Captain Gio, welcome aboard. Yo yo yo, welcome sir. And the heading indicator with your rows over here. We got the compass and everything. Compass actually is here. Okay, that's the compass. One thing I'm gonna show you. The compass doesn't work during a turn. Okay, let's assume now you want to turn. Let's turn towards south. Okay, let's give you a heading of 150. Okay, so we're gonna turn south. See how this thing becomes completely unreliable. It says 210, 205 is already saying south. This is not correct. During a turn, this is not reliable. The compass is only reliable during a normal straight and level flight. 210, couple degrees before, we're gonna start our roundabout. The plane will tend to go up. That's normal. The centrifugal force and everything is now acting on the plane, and will try to go to climb. So you might have to retrim the plane a little bit, change your position. Winds are different, so remember. Here we go. Now this change, and we are 150 and 150 showing over there too. And this is what we do. You want to keep your nose at the horizon, but the most important thing is take the picture of the outside reference you got here. Okay, this is your straight and level attitude. This is your horizon. This is how your nose is pointing. So now look at this. This is how is your straight and level position. You want to know, you want to remember this, okay? You want to know how much distance. So you take your span, kind of like eyeball it, and you want to keep the same distance with your horizon the whole time. Let's not even look at this. By the way, yeah, I'm trying to see. Let's see. Let's keep this, okay? We want to keep the same altitude the whole time. Alright? Same thing if you do a turn. Now, it's very different from a sim. Okay? But you want to try to keep a standard turn. Let's see a little bit more. We're not looking at the instruments right now. Okay, we'll see if we can pass the test. Okay, let's level up. Level up. Yeah, we good. We basically climbed a couple of feet now on the roundabout, but that's pretty normal. But more or less, we kept the same altitude without even looking. And this is something you need to learn. 2 inches on the horizon for climb, 4 inches for level, and 6 for descent in this plane. It changes, man. It changes. How tall are you? How tall am I? It can't use the same picture. You need to use you each, yeah, I guess what you say. I thought you each is like I know what you're talking about. From your cowlings, you want to see your cowlings, okay? And you want to count how many inches. So you put your hands out there, and that's the picture for level flight, okay? Now this is climbing. Okay. Got distracted a little bit, so we get down to 3,000. We want to check that we are not busting into any airspace every once in a while. Okay. We want to stay off Ormond Beach, basically. Yeah, if you are in Ormond Beach, that means bad. Okay. Let's say your power setting 2320. Okay, that's good. Take your fingers out there and then see how many. Okay, that's the picture you want to have. All right, 4 inches, 5 inches. This is what you want to see. You put your finger out there and check. Okay, that's straight and level. And that's how you do basically your flight. Most of the time is looking outside. It's again, you will keep hearing that 90% outside, 10% inside. Of course, it's gonna change when you start flying instrument flight rules. At that point, it's 90% inside and 10% outside. You still want to look outside even in your instrument because you want to be separated by other planes too. So look, we haven't been touching the flight controls for a while. We still keep in 3,000 feet. So that's amazing. So we know the nose is trying to climb because the distance between the horizon and the engine cowling is increasing. The plane stabilizes itself. The Cessna 172 is a very stable aircraft, like super stable. Alright, so we do the cruising checklist. Did we do that? I did it in my head, but probably not. But when we do the cruising checklist, we're gonna do power set to 2,300 RPM or as required. Basically 75%. It's a good approximation. Mixture, we're gonna lean the mixture. We lean the mixture a little bit so we have a higher EGT, and that saves us the plugs, spark plugs. Then lights, we no need lights. Taxi lights remain on local flights, so we turn them off. Yeah, we turn them off. Are they on or off? I'll just keep them on like that. We're doing a local flight, landing lights, we can keep them on. Yeah, we said that we keep the landing lights on for a local flight. Alright, so we are now slowly getting into airspace here, so let's go along the coast, okay? Go a little bit along the coast, and we want to try to do S-turn, not S-turns, but yeah, S-turns. Ground reference maneuvers, basically. We pick up a straight line and we're gonna do S-turns, okay? There are some, we're gonna try to do it now, and then the next lesson we're gonna show you exactly how to do it. We're gonna do more specific by using actual numbers and talking with numbers, okay? Get a couple of screenshots here for my thumbnail maybe. See, we stayed out now. Also, make sure that you're always 1,000 feet below the clouds, okay? If you're flying VFR, you don't want to get any closer to the clouds. Let's do a couple turns here. Once we reach the line here, that's Flagler County Airport there. That's I-95 should be underneath us. Yeah, that's I-95. Remember, visual flight rule means knowing your surroundings, know where you're flying. So we're crossing I-95. Here we got the state park, I believe. Forgot the name of the state park, but see, we didn't touch the flight controls the whole time. We're still at 3,000. Amazing, right? This little boy over here, it's amazing. So we're gonna be approaching basically Ormond Beach. Here we are almost close to Ormond Beach. Yeah, because the Flagler, here's you go, that's Flagler County. That's, sorry, Flagler Beach. The bridge over there, that's Flagler Beach. The pier, that's not represented, of course. I'm gonna try to make a scenery with the pier. But you want to make sure you stay ahead of the plane. Don't let the winds control your plane. We're gonna cross this at the 90 degrees angle. More or less, and let's perform some S-turns. So we know how we know the winds. Exactly, here is the perfect example how to know the winds. Check the waves of how the waves are coming off, and you can determine what are the way. Okay, so we know it's coming from that direction. 090, it's coming from east. Okay, and we knew that because even the winds out of the airport is 090. So we know when we do perform a maneuver now, the winds will push us very close to that. So that means we need to be a little bit steeper on that turn. Right? Casper, welcome aboard. Welcome to our first Avio Flight Academy lesson. And see, we're going to be a little bit steep, not too steep. See, when you go steep, you lose altitude. Make sure you regain it, okay? Let's start it from here. So that, because let's start now from here. Now, remember, we are away from this. We're going away from the winds. That means when we're gonna turn back to a 90 degrees and make sure that we can intersect that, beach line, the coastline at 90 degrees angle. When we do that turn will push us away. So we need to be a little bit more steep on our turn, okay? So let's do, when we do this, we're gonna have to be a little bit steeper because we are going against it. Hey Casper, yeah, not it's not that Casper, we're not doing just flights in you know, we're not just doing flights. Let me do this maneuver. Okay, visual reference out there, okay? Oh, here we go, we're descending. Keep that horizon. We should be crossing the at almost a 90 degrees angle. Yeah, that's good. That's what we want to do. We want to make sure, see, we cross that almost at a 90 degrees angle, so that's good. We're not doing VFR flights, we're just doing flight training. So this is not going to be about scenery, it's not going to be looking at surroundings. That's the ratio for sim streams. Yeah, it is actually. I came out. If you check the stream, we did a brief room. Oh, I forgot to do the turn. Now we can be a little bit more gentle because we are running against it. We are running against the wind, so the plane. I mean, the winds is gonna already push us towards west to the coastline faster. Okay, so of course I delayed my operation now because I got distracted a little bit, but when you are facing against the winds, then you want to make a more shallow turn. Okay, because now, as you can see, we are a bit further away. We should have started immediately, but we continue flying anyways. We'll do couple more turns here and see how it goes. Yeah, it's gonna be one lesson every week. So the next lesson we're gonna be performing more maneuvers. Go. Remember, now we are against it, so we're gonna be, when we're gonna make the turn, we're gonna be against the wind, so it has to be a little bit more aggressive of a turn. Okay, 9 degrees. Here we go. Start our turn. When we do a turn like that, we want to make sure we also keep some back pressure, okay? Look at the altimeters, basically stay there the whole time. A little bit more, and we should be good. Now, let me see. Yep, 90 degrees. Awesome. Now immediately we're gonna take another turn, and we make it a little bit more shallow this time, not as steep as the one before. Because the winds again. It's 10:30 p.m. in Europe and need to wake up at 6 tomorrow, man. I get it. A bit more shallow. See, I went a bit too far. I got distracted a second, but there you go. We're gonna keep it like that before. See, a little bit more shallow turn here on this one, okay? And we should be basically almost there now. Yeah. Oh, we lost some altitude by the time. There we go, 90 degrees. Remember, this coastline goes a little bit, as you guys can see from here too. The coastline moves a little bit. It's not 100% 90 degrees. So next time we should take a road maybe that's more straight. Now, let's see the surroundings. Where are we at? Let me see. So right in front of us, that's should be Flagler County Airport, or should be right around here. Let me see. So the I-95, no, the bridge is there, the road is there, and here's go the airport. So okay, so let's turn away and ask for a traffic pattern. Okay. William Beninati, welcome aboard. Yo, what's up, Avio man? Welcome aboard, sir. Benvenuto a bordo. Also, we're gonna be here. Okay, that's the airport, right? So that's 1,500 feet. That's the ATZ. So we're gonna stay. We're above that. We're gonna get away, kind of like simulate that we're coming in for an approach. So let's come in. Let's get the information of the airport quickly. Okay, that is good. Oh, I see what happens when you get distracted. You check. Alright, man. Appreciate it, man. Thank you so much. Alright, guys, if you just tuned in, welcome to the Flight Academy, Avio Flight Academy. Lesson number 1 today is debut. So we debut. We say debutto in Italiano. It's the actually the starting of this little virtual flight academy, free of charge. Basically, we're gonna give you some tips, and you know, it's gonna be useful for people who are just joining the X-Plane or anyway this flight sim world. But it's gonna be great lessons for people who are in flight training now. Casper, alright, Sian, thank you so much, sir. Alright, so we are sorry, outside the airspace. I'm gonna get the chart here quickly. So let's have it like here. Alright, so let's turn towards the airport now. We don't want to get any closer to any other airports. What's my PC spec? It's a i7 97K. So it's the 9th gen i7 processor. And the graphic card is the 2070 with 12 gigs of virtual memory. And then I have 16 gigs of RAM. Alright, so let's say now we're approaching the airport. Okay, look at the reflections, beautiful. We are approaching the airport. We know we're along the coastline, okay? And that's the I-95. We see the road over there. And be like, let's make a call. We know where we are. In order to see how close are we to the airport, we press nearest, okay? Oh. When you press nearest on the G1000, it will tell you how far you are. You're 5.3 miles. So we're gonna call it. We are northeast of the airport. We're gonna be like, let's make the calls. Tune in the frequency for the ATIS, which doesn't work always. I don't know why. ATIS is 12175. That's the ground. ATIS is 128325. Need to correct the RPM.
Flagler Executive Information Golf 2000 Zulu weather. Wind 090 at 12, visibility more than 10. Sky conditions 3700 scattered, temperature 23, dew point 16.
Same.
Area QNH 1019.
Alright, so let's see. We are 4 miles now. What? Northeast of the airport. Flagler Tower, good evening, November Alpha Victor 10, Cessna, Alpha Victor 10. With information Foxtrot, we are 4 miles northeast of the airport for close traffic. I'm gonna ask for close traffic basically. Close traffic means we're gonna do a couple traffic pattern, and he's gonna like, oh, November Alpha Victor 10, join right downwind runway 06. Clear for the options. Okay. All right, joining in the right downwind November Alpha Victor 10, runway 06. So we're gonna reduce the power now. Okay, descend. Got the ATIS fuel selector. We make sure it's on both. We probably have to descend and lose some altitude before that. So we're gonna do some turns over here. You don't want to be too crazy, but okay. Some altitude like that. Okay, and we're gonna make sure it goes full rich. Now we put it at full rich. Okay, we're gonna be at 1,000 feet at least, so let's set the 1,000 feet. You're gonna do a lot of this turns when you want to lose altitude. That's the best way to lose altitude. Okay, make sure it's 2300. Okay, landing lights are on. Brakes, so we're gonna test the brakes quickly. Press it if everything's good. Okay, we are about to join the left downwind. Picture outside, keep that picture in. I want to keep it at 06, heading 060, so alright, we see the airport there, we're good. Oh, 1,000 feet, we're going to keep that 1,000 feet. Before landing fuel selector, okay, landing lights are on, everything is set. Gear 2300. We want to make sure when we pass the threshold, we're going to set 1700 RPM. That's good enough. Flaps 1. Below 110. Remember, below 110, flaps 1. Right? And November Alpha Victor 10. Right base 6. And November Alpha Victor 10. We're being cleared for the option, runway 6. Being clear for the option, runway 16. 85 knots, we can go. Alright, make sure we stay at below 1700 though. That's the runway. It's going to be a closed traffic. Remember our speeds, okay? So our approach speed is going to be flaps 85. Okay, so flap extended, that's good. Approach speed is going to be flaps 60, between 60 and 70. Oh, I squared it too much. We have a long ass runway, so okay, 1200 RPM on final. A bit high. So what happens when we are high? Slight slip. We're gonna do right rudder, left aileron. See how the plane comes down? Much easier without too much. Here you go. 0 side slip. Okay, once we think we got it, back on track. Between 60 and 70 knots. Let's see if we can hit the, okay. Let's see. Alright, flaps up. Full flaps. 55 knots, rotate. Hit the brakes. We don't need this now. I'm gonna hit the brake and check behind. This is when you know if you're doing correct procedure. You want to make sure the runway is still behind you, okay? Bit of right there. 700 feet, we're going to start our turn. Let's start now. Alright. Alright, we're going to check by leveling up the wings a little bit. Here we go. Bang. And then we can turn now into our right downwind for runway 6. 2300 on RPM. Alright, so let's see. We know the winds at 090, so we want to keep a little bit of more distance because the winds are pushing a little bit, you know. So we want to keep that speed good. 2300, I said. Here we go. That's good enough. Alright, we are right about the threshold in that runway. The opposite runway. Get more power. There we go, we are threshold power to 1700, below 110. Okay, below 110, flaps 10. There we go, see, this is what we want. When you put the flaps, the plane will start to buoyant up again, you know, increase the lift. So you want to apply that forward pressure, okay? So we have 45 degrees now, so we can start our 1700, not below. Keep an eye on your power settings every time, guys. In fact, as a matter of fact, keep my view like this. Trim a little bit. Let's see what's the situation. Yeah, that's good. Another notch of flap. You can see the plane will try to climb again. Keep it 1700 until we turn into final, okay? That's much better approach than the previous one. If you guys have any questions, okay, go ahead and ask me any question you want in the comments or in the live chat, in Discord. Okay, we're gonna start turning. A little bit too early probably. Square out a little bit, yeah. Power to 1200. go. That's good enough. Full flaps. Well, power is required, I would say, but 1200 is about 1200 will help you quite a bit. Let's see, you get 60. Make sure the speed over the threshold was 58. That's good enough. And power to idle. That's perfect. By the manual. Okay, flaps. $55. There we go. Again, look behind. You want to hear that little noise of a stall warding. That's the right rudder. Okay, here we go. Oh. Some winds in there. See, keep it aligned with the runway. We went a little bit off course there. Look at the landing rates we get, 25 feet per minute. This is when you get a landing by the book. Bada boom, bada boom. 700 feet, start our turn towards circuit. I'm gonna keep an eye on here. Like straight up the wing level a little bit to see the position. Okay, good. Now we can turn. 2300. Visual with the runway, visual with the airport. Keep an eye on traffic around surroundings too. You're not going to be the only guy in the traffic pattern most of the time. So always keep an eye. Keep that visual reference outside all the time. There we go. Pass the threshold. 1700 RPM. Below 110. Flaps 1. Start our descent. 45 degrees, we'll check. 1700. Another notch of flap. Nope, no climbing. 1700, and we should be able to start our turn now towards the airport. There we go. Towards the final. A bit fast. Okay. 1200. Okay, mixture props, a big mixture full in. Flaps full. Keep the speed. Oh, that's too low. Over the threshold. There you go. Actually, you know what? Let me do one. Let's simulate a short field takeoff. Okay, we're not gonna taxi back. We're gonna stay right here, okay? 1000 RPM. Short field takeoffs mean flaps 10. I'm gonna make sure flaps are 10, flaps are down. Yep. Keeps the brakes, and we're gonna rotate at 51 knots and then climb, hover the runway a little bit and then go. Alright, so why is it a little bit tilted? Let me see. There we go. Full power. Okay, everything's in the green. Release the release the brakes. 51 knots. That's when we're gonna lift off. Okay. There you go. 51, 51, and it go. All right, we're gonna use the lovely ground effect. Gain speed, 74 VY. VX, I would say, and then VY. Clear of obstacles. Be good. Normal climb. That's how you perform. There's the flaps up. Clear of obstacles. That's how you wanna perform when you're at positive rate. You bring up the flaps. That's how you perform a short field land takeoff. So if we did a short field takeoff, why don't we do a short field landing at this point, right? Let's see the runway. Surely can't do a short field takeoff. Okay, 700 feet. Turning. Keep an eye there. I-95 is right there. Level the wings to see it. Situational. Okay. And we can turn. Power to 23. Okay, so when we do a short field landing, we want to make sure that we're going to be coming up at full flaps, but at 61 knots. We don't want to be higher than and slower than. That's very important. And that's gonna be our last landing. Let's see, we want to aim to a point. Let's see if we can aim, since we're gonna have to taxi all the way to the end, basically that. Let's aim over here for the touchdown zone. Okay, threshold, power to 1700. Start our descent. Below 110, flaps 10. Okay. 45 degrees. We start our turn. Keep descending. 85. We should be 85 knots. That's when you drop the other notch. We're a little bit over that, but there we go. The runway's there. Keep it at 1700 though. More is required. Should be full flaps 1200. Since we know we're gonna aim to the aiming zone, we're gonna keep some speed up. We're gonna be a little bit higher on our descent path, but aim for that. So visually aim where you're gonna be landing. Speed, speed, speed. Remember, speed for altitude, okay? So we want to stay a little bit above the glide path, above the visual, the poppy there, because we want to make sure we're 61 knots. We hit that, okay? There we go. It's gonna be rough. It's not gonna be power to idle. That's good. And immediate brakes. Awesome. That's how you check. Let's check here. That's how we stopped. I believe we touched down right there. We're gonna double check, or maybe right after the touchdown zone. So we'll see now. Flaps up, and we're gonna every time we did this traffic pattern, remember you need to make a contact with tower. The tower be clear. It say clear for the option, and then when it says clear for the option, it's basically saying clear to land. Okay. Clear for touch and go, clear for the options. That's what it is. Okay, we can turn off the landing lights and the strobe lights. We can switch to ground, which is a 12175, I believe. 121. Let's see where we want to go. We're going to stop here. 12175. Oh, we have it here. 12175. Ground, good evening, November Alpha Victor 10, just vacated runway 6, request taxi to the ramp. It's gonna come back, it's gonna give us indications where to go. So we are here on Charlie basically, and then and he was gonna say November Alpha Victor 10, taxi to the ramp via Charlie Delta, cross runway 11 on Delta. Have a good night. That's it. Roger, will November Alpha Victor 10 will taxi to the ramp via Charlie Delta to the ramp, cross runway 11 on Delta, November Alpha Victor 10. Alright, so that's what we do. Transponder. Left and right clear. Visual reference, make sure we are on Delta, crossing runway 11 on Delta. Left and right are both clear, so flick the landing lights on and the strobe lights on. RPM, and also we can lean the mixture a little bit. Ooh. Lean the mixture, left or right is clear. Yeah, kind of. Oh, the weather. Not here, but the next one. Okay, make sure also the winds. Okay, so we are into the winds now. Alright, so let's just park it here. Okay, we can turn off the avionics. And bring up the checklist here. Go okay after landing, wing flaps. Make sure okay. We did. The lights are okay. Good. We never turn off the landing lights and the strobe lights. We'll turn them off now. Nav lights can come off. Okay, if avionics master switch is off, ground magneto check. So when we do the ground magneto check, it will check if the key is coming off without even turning it off, or without moving to the off position. So just do a little thing like that. Okay, we do that. Ignition key removal stop pin. That's what we do. Okay, so we check if it's coming up. Make sure so with the key on both, ensure the key cannot be pulled out from the ignition switch. That's very it's gonna be a very bad day if it happens. Mixture cut off. Slowly, everything has to be slowly. You don't want to. If you hear the popping sound, pop, 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 that's good. That's bad. Here we go. Mixture cut off. Ignition switch after prop stops off. The prop stopped. Okay. Off. Okay. Standby battery switch off. We're gonna take the hops and time. So 2.0, we're gonna write 2.0 was 1.3 before, 1.5 let's see. It was for 2.0, that's the hops time, 2 hours, and then we're gonna engine here 3.0. Okay, so we got that one. I think we've been for like an hour flying. We got that one in. Few selector control, air vents, interior panel lights, exterior lights can come off. All the lights. Oh, we have them off. Make sure the fuel pump is on when you guys do the descent. I mean, it's not required, but we always keep it. Now, parking brakes. Okay, tied up. We're gonna have to do master switch, beacon, a battery and alternator. Okay, off. Austin Myers, bye. Okay, so we're gonna push this plane. Oh, the brakes are on. Okay, let me see. Okay, the roll axis doesn't really work. It should work. That's good enough. That's good enough. When you're in flight training, you want to make. Now it's training. See. No idea why it's not turning before. That's good enough. That's good enough, guys. Oh, I know why. Because you need to use the pedals. Like in a real plane, you used to use the brakes. Like that. Okay, that's good enough, I think. That's good enough. No, wrong one. Park brakes. Okay, so let's leave the plane now. And let's run some replays maybe. Okay, we've parked enough, good enough. We're gonna check the maintenance quickly and see. Everything looks fine. Great. Alright, so let's run the checklist quickly. The replay, sorry. Okay, leaving that, we're gonna do a replay on here. No, shoot, wrong one. Resume flight. Let's see all the landings basically. This is the S turns that we did. Here we go, this is where we were approaching. second landing coming up, so we'll see how this one goes. And see, you can hit the 45 degrees, we can start turn. Nice landing. If you press the brakes, folks, you will stop the movement of the wheels. If you press the brake, so every time you take off, you want to press the brake a little bit, so this doesn't happen. Power to 1700, below 110, and then should deploy the flaps very soon. Here we go. That's my short field takeoff. Okay, short field takeoff. Remember 61 knots. 51 knots, so you want to lift off. Then you're going to you want to hover a little bit over the runway, so you're going to use that ground effect to gain speed and then once you gain speed over the runway, you can go and climb in VX. Once you're clear of obstacle, flaps up, VY, whatever speed you want to go. You go full power, full brakes, brake release. You see, you will reach 51 knots very soon. Should be coming on now in a second. 51 knots. Here we go. Stay in ground effect. And then once you reach the climb, once we reach speed, climb. Then clear obstacles, you can retract the flaps, or when your instructor tells you to. And let's see our short field landing now. Let's see where we landed. Alright, who's still online, guys? If you are still in, if you have any questions, you guys have any question you want to ask, anything you want to know? There we go. Across the threshold, power to 1700, below 110, flaps coming down. Here we go. See? It's tap tap tap. Threshold, power to 1700 RPM. Below 110, flaps down. Start descent. 45 degrees from the threshold, start your turn towards your base, right base here for runway 6. Okay. Checking out the runway, it's there, good. We're gonna do another. Alright folks, if you haven't done it so far yet, let's hit the like and subscribe button and join us on Discord. Got a one dislike. I guess someone thought it was boring. I say, well, if it's boring, you can go and join the other channels where they do IFR long haul flights and other stuff. This is different. This is gonna be completely different format. We're gonna have this format once a week. Oh, I think we passed that line. Where is it? Here we go. Did we touch down there? Right there, right? I think right over the, or maybe. Yeah, right at the markings, basically. Yeah, it was still the markings there. Let me see. Markings, yeah. And one wheel came down at the markings. We said we're gonna touch down at the markings, and we did touch down at the markings, guys. Remember, 61 knots on the approach. All you have to do, 61 knots on the approach, aim to where you want to land. As you say, you want to put your wheels down there, put it down there. On your check ride you have, I think, 50 to, on your private check ride you have 50 feet, I believe, where you can undershoot. No, you cannot undershoot. You can overshoot 50 feet. Short field landing, no undershoot. You can't undershoot it. Oh, nice. There you go. Command and hold. Alright folks, it's time for me to say goodbye. Thank you so much for joining our first lesson of the Avio Flight Academy today. And we're gonna be doing this once a week, so make sure you check out our Discord channel. The link is in the description. Hit the bell button next to the subscribe and like, and we'll see you next week with another episode of the live stream with Avio Flight Academy lesson number 2. Well, all the documents that we found, that we used today, I'm gonna post them today into the resource page of our Discord channel. So make sure you go under the resource page. I'm gonna see if I'm gonna do a section just for the Avio Academy, so you don't lose stuff. But we're gonna post it by today. Hopefully by tomorrow, all the documentation will be available there. This exact livery will be available in the resources and hopefully in the org too, once Connor Moore decides to upload it. But thank you so much for watching. Make sure you want to keep the blue side up and blue skies, everyone. Thank you so much again. We'll see you tomorrow. You guys are amazing. Blue skies, everyone. Good night, Avio man. Ease out.